Here we go, 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 here we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're doing it live. Haven't done a live stream in a long time, and I figured today would be a good day to do it, just to test a couple of things out here. We're going to kind of watch the charts through the opening bell. With the price action being really stuck where it has been for quite a while for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market, a lot of the action typically takes place right here early in the morning. So maybe we'll kind of catch it as the stock market actually opens, get an opportunity to connect more with you guys a little bit. And then at the same time, just see repetitive questions that may come out. Sometimes we'll see a lot of topics that get brought up over and over again in live streams, and sometimes that will spark an idea for me to make a video about. So I figured that would also help kind of get an understanding of the questions that you guys have, and maybe we can start deep diving into those issues as time progresses, right? Might not have the answers today, but I can at least look into it. One other thing, too, is that today is not Wednesday. And I know it's crazy, right? We're doing a live stream on a Wednesday. But, since it's been so long, I might as well help my homies out.
It is Wednesday, my
All right, there we go. Welcome back. Feels good to be back. So, all right.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
Oh, I think I accidentally have it still going there. Let's close that out. There we go. A little rusty, right? All right. So, what we'll do here first off is we'll start peeking through the charts and how we're starting out the day today. The stock market will open in 22 minutes. That's typically when we will see quite a bit of action. And then, my intention for these streams is only to last about an hour right now. And this is really just kind of a test to see how it's actually going to go. But thank you guys for showing up. If you could please hit the like button, I would appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. To start out, we have pretty much a mixed day going on here in the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin's pretty much flat. Look at that. That's a straight up, that was a zero right there on Bitcoin just a second ago. And the things, without coming into too much repeating here, we all know Bitcoin does appear to just be in consolidation. At least that's my theory on what's going on with Bitcoin right now, is that it has just been consolidating. Even with the stock market moving down, somehow we have still stayed pretty flat here. Moving on to, what I just realized, I hope this thing's not going to be ridiculously loud. People are probably going to have technical errors, issues happening in here. The major thing for me is the stock market. It's one of the things, and obviously I keep bringing it up in my videos, is that I know everybody's focused on the Fed, right? Everybody wants to talk about Fed, and the problem that is, it seems like a bigger issue happening here in the stock market. So, and that's how I'm having to kind of like formulate my thought process moving forward, is that I do believe the U.S. stock market has popped. So that idea, the thought of that can be quite scary, but and if it is like a Great Depression crash, so let's at least talk about this like adults here real quick. Let's just be realistic here, right? The Dow Jones in the last, 10 or 12 years has gone up 472%. And if we look at what happened in the roaring 20s prior to the Great Depression, it went up 501%. Those are remarkably close-sized bubbles that happened in here, and that the similarities, see if I have a bunch of slop drawn on this thing or not. Go back to the daily. Of how tops work is that we have something very similar. But the thing is, this can also lead to like the most exciting time in the market. So we haven't seen. So if this thing crashes, like at the Great Depression, that would be obviously scary. But the things that these typically do, and I do recognize it, that it feels like what's the term? Beating a dead horse with a stick, a retracement, right? We haven't had one yet, but that would be the most common thing to happen in here. And when you look during excessive bubbles that end up happening, and it can be those retracements that get to be so exciting. So that's the thing that I'm really watching for in the stock market. Of course, there's always a chance the thing just goes crashing and crumbling, but I don't stick to this whole just focus on the Fed narrative. I think it's much bigger than that. Me and TXMC have been chatting about it too, in that when you look back to like what this peak was like back in here, is that what were the elements that happened in here that are different from like what we have? Okay, I hope that wasn't too loud, guys. Let me turn that down. Thank you so much. And I'll get to those in just a second. Thank you very much. What did we have in here? We had PPP loans, we had stimulus checks, quantitative easing, low interest rates, the Fed just buying it all. Will we get that same type of thing to get a new all-time high if the Fed merely just pivots on QE, right? So like I think about those things and I think, it's probably topped, but it would be incredibly exciting. And I think that a lot of people think this is just going to be a recession, and I don't mean to be like a gloom and doomer kind of guy. But I do think that we have seen the peak in the Dow Jones Industrial Average when it comes to our lifetimes. And right now, you don't really ever realize it in the beginning phases of when they happen, but they take a long time. But I don't know how to not be like to scare you to death with that. But the thing is, I don't think it's going to be like what we saw happen in the 1930s, where it does just crumble on itself and happen really fast. But I think a lot of people are missing the boat of what technical damage did happen here. And I did a Twitter Spaces the other day, and in that Twitter Spaces, people were talking about focusing really on the fundamentals and technical analysis doesn't really matter. Technical analysis can get it wrong sometimes, but it's hard to deny that it does work. It's hard to deny that you get your, when you scream for years that, hey, we're going to be heading up to $70,000, and it's the depths of despair in the C19 times, right? People were screaming. I see somebody in the chat typing, we're going to 12 to 14K. Here's another one. We're going to 13 to 14K. Obviously, they're getting that number from someone who's telling them that rather than doing technical analysis. Because if you're a bull, and I'm just being super serious here, And that's the thing, too, to take note of. And all the people who are calling for 12 to 14K, they are actually bullish on Bitcoin. They do presume that one more move down in here for Bitcoin is a bullish buy, and that's where you buy it. And then we go on and we set new all-time highs. But what they don't recognize is the technical damage that would also occur to Bitcoin in here, and that you would be lucky to get, and don't kill the messenger, man. If you're getting your information of this 12 to 14K somewhere, and you're not doing your own technical analysis, but you're just doing it based off what another content creator is telling you, you have officially had your A wave to B wave to C wave. So I would not be cheering for that for being a bull. I will become the ultimate bear on Bitcoin should we actually get that breakdown there. Xenogen, BCB, do you think the Dow will double top like Bitcoin? That's possible, but I do consider it improbable. But possible. I actually think we're more so just going to go into an actual retracement. With Bitcoin back then, I had confidence we were going to set a new all-time high. For those who were around here during this time, I was screaming this was the top, and we were looking for a 50% crash. And then down in here, just like now, spending months while everybody's screaming, just admit it's a bear market, right? Like, no, it's going to reverse and it's going to set a new all-time high, but it's only going to barely set a new all-time high, right? We get the barely set new all-time high. And then, the crumble has started. The thing that obviously has hampered me is anticipating a retracement and us getting back up into these levels. And clearly we didn't quite reach out that far, but still believing that Bitcoin's in a bear market. The only saving grace for Bitcoin currently at this time to resume a new bull run and to mimic past behavior for Bitcoin is if it can continue to hold its current level. If it dips any lower than where it's at, if it goes to 12 to 14K, like so many bulls do want, and I do want people to think about one thing too. If you do want 12 to 14K, I would ask yourself this, and this is just coming from experience, and it might not be the case, but if you sold in here, if you held your Bitcoin all the way down, if you're buying, still thinking it was in a bull market, and then if you sold out right here and you're saying we're going to 12 to 14K, is it bias of your own personal portfolio, or in that you don't want to have sold the bottom and you want to sell low and buy lower? And I have no way to measurably know if people did that or not, but I know that behavior is very common in crypto. So just kind of, think that to yourself too. And when I see them all the time, we're going to 12 to 14K, just know the technical damage to the chart and make sure that you have a justification outside of saying we have to do an 85% crash like we have in past bear markets. The scenarios that were going on in these situations were different. These were ABC corrections happening in here for Bitcoin in both 2014 and in 2018. And both of the ending phases of these bears, as we know, we saw the grinding action happening in here, all of this stuff right here, all this behavior that we've already had right in here has mimicked the ending phase and the ending phase. And so if you're wanting more than that, if you're wanting it to go to 12 to 14K, geez, what is going on here? What is broken with this thing? There we go. Just, you're wanting more to happen than what happens. And this was the capitulation phase. So anybody who sold down here sold into the capitulation phase, but, have a good reason for it to go to 12 to 14K. And I can't create one that still remains bullish. But heading back to stock market, we're going to see the stock market open here in pre-market where you look like we're going to open down about 93 points. I think there's a good argument to say that this level is potentially a local bottom. And the problem with it is it could be this whole entire range happening in here. But the mindset that I have to use going into this, and a controversial video I made earlier this week was talking about the stock market and talking about Bitcoin and showing how the new all-time highs for Bitcoin have been so dependent on the stock market, and whether or not it's actually due to Bitcoin block reward halvings or if it's due to stock market. And then I wrote up a longer super followers tweet discussing it and giving like time frames of it. And the thing that you'll notice is that we all look to and give credit to the Bitcoin block reward halving. But if you pay attention to time and how much longer it took for a new all-time high to get set after the Bitcoin block reward halving happened for Bitcoin, it got further and further and further. And let me go see if I can find the actual numbers because I ran them right. Where are we? Here we go. Okay. So in 2013, the Bitcoin block reward halving, the new all-time high came 13 weeks later. In 2016, it was 25 weeks after the Bitcoin block reward halving. And then in 2020, it was 31 weeks later. So we notice the time spreading out further and further and further for each time that Bitcoin could escape from these multi-year bear markets, right? So you have your block reward halving that comes in back here in May, right? So here in 2020, it was 31 weeks later before we could set a new all-time high. Then you go back in here and you go back to 2014 and you say, well, how long after it was the all-time high peaked? We'll give it credit. We'll say this one right here, right? We'll just say it is. That was even 25 weeks after the Bitcoin block reward halving. And then you go back even deeper in time, and in 2013's breakout, so we don't even have data going back, but in 2013 it was right here, wasn't it? You had 13 weeks later. So 13 weeks, then 26 weeks, or 25 weeks, then 31 weeks. But if you look at the actual stock market, if you look at the actual Dow Jones Industrial Average and you say what was actually happening in here, the 2013 bull run that broke out into a new all-time high happened within 2 weeks of us breaking out from the great financial crisis. So breaking out from the great financial crisis, within 2 weeks of this time period, Bitcoin was breaking out into its all-time high. So it's a pretty significant moment, right? Bitcoin's in a multi-year bear market. And then as we break out through the great financial crisis within a 2-week time period of there, that's when Bitcoin also breaks out into a new all-time high. So we're talking about in 2013, it was within 13 weeks of the block reward halving, but it was only within 2 weeks of breaking out from great financial crisis. And then you move over here to 2016 and 2017, and as it broke out, so it enters this 3-year long range right here. As it finally escapes this range, it is within 8 weeks that Bitcoin escapes its multi-year bear market and goes into a new all-time high. However, it was 25 weeks after the Bitcoin block reward halving. So what we're noticing is that it was 13 weeks after the Bitcoin block reward halving, but also within 2 weeks of great financial crisis. And this one was 25 weeks after block reward halving, but also within 8 weeks after breaking out of a 3-year range. And then you go over here, we enter a broadening wedge that isn't a breakout, right? People are like, oh, it's breaking out and going. No, the market knew it needed to come back and double tap, bull flag, breakout, short squeeze, violent back test. Finally, once that's complete, we go and we set a new all-time high, and it's within 3 weeks of setting the all-time high and escaping that range, Bitcoin sets its new all-time high after a multi-year bear market. So in each circumstance here, there was a 2-week difference between Bitcoin and the stock market. 2 weeks here, 8 weeks here, 3 weeks here. But with the block reward halving, it was 13 weeks, 25 weeks, 31 weeks. So we come back over to the stock market and you say to yourself, well, how do I form my broader picture of the stock market? Is the stock market popped? And this is the big controversial topic, right? So is the stock market going to set a new all-time high, or is it not? If it's going to go into a retracement, which one has more of a grip on Bitcoin? Is it the stock market, or is it the block reward halving? And if you were to use just the data of how many weeks separated the breakouts for the stock market, or how many weeks separated the block reward halving and breakouts for Bitcoin, it's a much tighter spread on stock market. It's 8 weeks or less, whereas for the block reward halving, it's up to 31 weeks. So I don't know. I found all that stuff to be very interesting, and up to each to decide if it matters. But that's why it's like a broader perspective of the stock market. Understanding this picture, I think, is probably pretty important for understanding the picture of what's going to happen with Bitcoin moving forward. So it's why it's something I'm really focusing on, and why I keep pointing over here and being like, sketchy, sketchy. But when these things happen, we typically see bounces. And like I said earlier in the stream, I get it. For a lot of people, it's like beating a dead horse with a stick, right? We hear about retraces all the time, and Bitcoin is yet to provide us one yet. But even in these circumstances right here, we could see the levels that we pulled back to after taking out the height. That's exactly where we've gotten to here on the Dow. So I think it's reasonable to guess that we could be at a pivotal bouncing level for the Dow. And if you check out how tops come and excesses come, there's still that return to normal feeling. There's that, the Fed's going to pivot, everything is going to be great. And maybe the Fed does pivot and people think we're going to go to the moon. And a lot of excitement comes, but then it just runs out of steam because we don't have that same, even technicals, right? But I can even draw the fundamental reasonings on why it won't, even though I don't pay attention to the fundamentals nearly as much as I do the technicals. But everybody had stimulus up the wazoo, right? Everybody had, they were literally making memes showing people like loading their cannons with their stimulus checks, fighting against the hedge funds, right? PPP loans, unemployment. People were making more money staying at home trading than they were from unemployment benefits than they were actually going to real work. So people were actually staying home, getting all this extra money from unemployment and throwing it in the stock market and goofing off. So I don't think we have not only does the technical structure say that it's likely popped, but that we don't have the same conditions here. Hold on, I saw somebody ask something here. Oh, blockchain backer, would you be able to turn reply on so for latecomers they can rewatch what is said before? Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't think I can change that while we're live, but I'll work on it. All right. So anyway, we're at a point right now where the stock market is about to open. So that what we'll do is we'll watch this thing get open. And I've just been rambling for a half an hour at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's kind of just a live view of my thought process of what's going on. Bitcoin, and with Bitcoin being ranging, like I mentioned, so you guys, a lot of people probably missed the beginning of this. Why are we doing a live stream in the first place too, right? Wanted to connect with you guys a little bit better and get an understanding of the topics to cover too. Like right now, we've been in here for several months. It reminds me just like what it was like back in here. We're down here for several months. Of course, everybody's, bored, frustrated, and looking for lower prices. You're going to constantly see 12 to 14K. Thank you for all the hearts, guys. I see you guys in there. Oh, you love my rambling. Okay, cool. But yeah, to kind of go through here and see if there's repetitive questions in here, and that can help me better understand what you guys are wanting to hear more about. So it can help me come up with ideas too, so I don't have so much repetitive content as well. I want to, do what you guys want to. Unfortunately, too, first of all, I appreciate the super chats, and I'll try to get through them. But my alert thing isn't working on my end, so I don't have them all stored back in there. So I'll try to get to them as much as I can. All right, here we go. We are 1 minute from opening. So currently opening is expected to be down 106 points for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We'll see what happens to crypto during this time, because this seems to be when we have the most action right in here. And we're going to open in 30 seconds. And so in that time, I'll address these real quick. Johnny V. Coltrane, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Johnny. Mark Brown, what would happen to pensions? What we call it in the UK, you call it a 401k, I think, if we went into a Great Depression. They would get wiped out, totally. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, that's the thing that worries me the most is about our families. They assuming that the standard buy the dip, keep contributing to your 401k. That's the thing that worries me the most about it. All right, here we go. And we're open. So let's see if we can catch anything in here while we're live. Mr. Pavlova, they prolonged the SEC case to flip the switch. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. The whole switch stuff, bro. And so there we go. We got this. Yeah, bro, don't sweat the tea. It's just making what it has to do. Hence, market makers, in my opinion. Thank you, One Rough Rican. Man, it's been a while, bro. Hi, good to see you again. Keep getting through these. Here we go. Stuart McClusty. Can you share your trading view script for the 200-week MA on all time frames? Right, yeah, so I can flip on the 200-week moving average at any point right in here. I got to see if TXMC is okay with it. Yeah, I met up with him a couple months ago. We actually spent a weekend together hanging out, and he gave me that script. And it's pretty cool, right? But it's unfortunately not mine. I didn't create it, so I don't have permission for it. Permission to share. So I'll talk to him. Alan, blockchain backer. I got some madman love for you. Thank you. And wow, there's 2,500 people in here, man. I tell you what, it is so weird. It's interesting being a content creator and a YouTuber who just makes videos because every day is the same. And share that with you. It's like every day is just the same. I walk in here, I look at the charts, I start recording, and then editing and all that stuff takes a long time. And then you just upload it and it gets views and stuff, but it's still like this, not like connected to the real world of how many people there are that actually watch. And so to see that even in the depths of these market conditions, 2,500 people in here, that's amazing. Louis Cormier, or Cormier, I don't know. Thank you so much. Obi Okiguale. Will we get an alt season for the altcoins that didn't pump this year? That's the big question, right? So the conditions for any type of alt season, there's only two. And that's what I've always said. There's only two conditions for an alt season that we've seen historically. And everybody always wants to speculate that this time will be different or that there'll be some type of breakaway or something. But the only two conditions for an alt season to occur in crypto are one, during this moment right here, or two, into a retracement from the top. And so from the top, we've had none. So the big question is, will there be one into a retracement that, hopefully eventually comes? And that's really the conditional requirements throughout history of what they are. So that's really the big question of whether they will or whether they won't, is what happens to the market as we move back up. As we saw in 2021, everything moved up together. But like from the top 20 assets of like, if you were accumulating the top 20 assets during this whole time, you're like, I am a smart bear market accumulator. I'm going to accumulate the top 20 assets. Only like 4 of them went off into new all-time highs. So that was quite interesting to see that even stuff that had a lot of development during the bear market. And that's one of the things that has me real concerned right now too on accumulating things down in here when it comes to altcoins, is learning a little bit of more experience during the last bear market that, everybody loves everything. And I'm not doo-dooing on anything, but you have Cardano, you have Solana, you have AVAX, you have Cosmos, you have Ethereum, you have, Bitcoin, XRP. What are your other like really top ones? I think, Near, Matic, right? And those are all like in the top 20, right? But history showed from the last time around, even all the development, even all that everything, it doesn't mean all of them are going to do that well, unless we see the conditional requirement of what we typically see, where we retrace and into a retracement, suddenly things do just pop. But we haven't had that yet, and so that's really the big question. Obi Okiguale. Definitely, 2022 has stunk, man. Just stunk. Nothing, right? What a ride. And then pause. That's the worst thing too, is when you pause down here real quick. And let's talk about that too. That has been a weird thing for this market. For anybody who was here in the 2017 bull run, we had lots of as we'd run up and then it'd be a violent reversal. Then it would crash with violent reversal, crash with a violent reversal, crash with a violent reversal. And it was like that the whole time. Everything was a violent reversal. It was never like that during this. It was up and then torture, up and torture. And then the same thing occurred here, up and then torture, up, torture, up. And then we all know that's been torture. But even this right here, right? Nothing quick about it. However, that's not uncommon for it to be like that due to these phases down in here and having already had a capitulation fractal in here. So pretty normal stuff. But weird run for sure. Oh yeah, back to these. Steve Stammy, 13-14 bull run, 17-18 bull run, 21-22 bull run. Not sure what your question is there, Steve, but thank you. The Mighty Mustache. I love you, man. I never miss a video. Best analysis. Thank you, Mighty Mustache. I appreciate it. A lot of you guys, man, we're still deep in this bear market, and a lot of you guys still tune in. I appreciate it. Again, man, we'll see what happens if it bounce on Bitcoin. That's the whole thing I'm holding my hopes on, is what happens into that. And that, yeah, I think this thing is popped. And that's the complications of markets that a lot of participants don't know. They assume up only, and they assume everything has to go up only, but haven't seen the conditional of where you do this, and what actually happens in markets during that time can be insane. And like an example of that would be like, this is your Dogecoin nonsense, right? Off the top, Dogecoin nonsense, Elon Musk going on Saturday Night Live. It was hype. Right, that was hype insanity in the market right in there. So far, let's take a look at kind of a mixed day in the markets right now as we open up. So it doesn't look like anything too crazy in the markets today. It looks like dollar's up a bit. Let's take a look at that. Nothing crazy. As we've been looking at this for the last couple of weeks. You guys know, still paused out there, but we'll see. Of course, I try to remain as humble as I can about the dollar. It has been just a cluster F. I don't use profanity on my channel, but you know what I mean. Metals mixed, indexes mixed, nothing crazy. As you know, on Monday and Tuesday, the Dow was up over 700 points on Monday, over 800 points on Tuesday, and I believe less than 100 down yesterday. So really, maybe 48 points yesterday. And then looks like yields kind of like in a normal world, that'd be a decent move, but we've seen a whole lot more lately. And then a mixed day over here in stocks. So nothing crazy. I think the craziest thing this week, of course, has been Twitter, with Elon Musk saying he's going to go through on it. And with that mixedness in the stocks, what do we have? Still more ranging for Bitcoin. And that's why we're doing the live stream. All right, Super Chad, love you, BCB. You kept me sane for the last 2 years. This counts for a lot of people. Thank you, Super Chad. Laturo Parada, it is Wednesday, my dude. Thank you so much. And then there we go. All right, so Missed a Million, I'm reading the chat here. He says, hey, BCB, do you think if there was one global currency, i.e. Bitcoin, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, or whatever, or a bag of these currencies treated as one, that this would create a perfectly competitive market globally? So after being in this space for over 5 years at this point, you would think we would see a lot more development on the currency side, and not even like governments forcing us to use them, but that people would want to. And and it just hasn't been that people want to use cryptos as actual currencies. And that's the reality. They don't want to do it. And, what good examples for me has been like, and it's not to poo-poo on Bitcoin at all, right? But when I think of our current money that we have right now, I can swipe my debit card, I can swipe my credit card. The only people who are going to see what I'm spending my money on is going to be my bank and probably the government spying on me, right? But not everybody. You can't see what's happening on my debit card or on my credit card, or my neighbor can't find out what medications I'm having to buy or any type of treatments that my family's having to go through, or whatever it is, right? So we all say we don't if you need privacy, then you must have something to hide. But it's not true. You probably buy all types of things on Amazon or medications or whatever it is that you just, you don't want everybody knowing about. And it's got nothing to do with wanting to hide anything. But, Bitcoin, it can be tracked everywhere. Anybody who knows your address can look around and see where you're spending it, what addresses you're sending it to, and track everything of every dollar that you spend and every Bitcoin that you spend. So, with everybody being upset about the IRS spying on you for spending at least $600, I would assume people would flock to, if you're going to have a currency, you'd want privacy features. You wouldn't want it. King Solomon, what's going on, bro? That you would want that. And people don't. People didn't care. Will that day come? Maybe it will. But I am surprised from the currency aspect of cryptos. What did we see? We saw people wanting DeFi. They wanted to just earn more yield on holding something. They wanted NFTs, which at first I didn't get, but I get it better now. And smart contracts. But from the currency standpoint, do we really see people using it as a currency? I mean, it's just a question we got to ask ourselves, man. So I don't know, man, about the whole currency thing. It's getting, I would think to use it as a currency, we'd have to see like the main system break, which is, I think, why a lot of people do it, because it doesn't seem like one of those things that like adoption of it towards being an actual currency is actually happening so much as like that if the whole system breaks, we don't have any other option, right? So I don't know. I've been here for 5 years, bro. We're not using Bitcoin. We're not walking into the store using Bitcoin. Like, okay, maybe one like nerdy dude is, but not like mom. Not mom with a 4-year-old. She's not like busting out her Bitcoin, or busting out any of it. So, when it comes to crypto and the use cases, I think it'll be interesting whether it does become more of the store of value thing or just, when I think of what could be used as a currency in current cryptos that we have right now, XRP could, right? It could, because it's fast and it's cheap. When you process a credit card transaction at a bank or at a store, it's costing that, I believe these numbers are correct. It's costing that merchant 2.9% plus 35 cents per transaction. If you're able to get that down on a global scale, bigger scale, does that function as a better currency? It not only functions as a quick, fast currency, but it provides a benefit to the merchant. The merchant saves money in that circumstance, so they can either pass those savings on to their consumers or they can increase their profit margins. So in that circumstance, I see it as being used as a currency. Is that why the SEC's striking it down? Maybe. I don't know. But it's just conspiracy, right? So I think maybe using them as currencies is just because the top ones have problems that don't help them as currencies. Again, it's not poo-pooing on anything. Just Bitcoin's not fast enough to be a currency. It's not fast enough to go into a store and spend it. And then that's when the whole lightning thing will get it brought up. But again, right, is mom with her 4-year-old using it? Mom walking into the store, juggling a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old baby. Is she busting out Bitcoin? No. So it's got to be very simple, very easy for the consumer or for the end user, and then also benefit the merchant. So I don't know yet. I don't know if we're there yet or if XRP is, the one. We'll see. I hope I answered your question, dude. I don't think I directly answered it, but just kind of like talked about my thoughts on when it comes to why the heck are we not using them as currencies at this point? I've been here for 5 years. What's going on? Why is Bitcoin reacting to Fibonacci extension levels and just perfectly nailing these types of things? And we're not using it as a currency? I don't know. All right. Stock market has flipped green. So all indices have gone green. Looks like crypto market has done better, and we'll talk about XRP really fast, and then let me get these really quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up for the morning. Just kind of gauge how you guys are doing in here. Okay, Oki1, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much, Obi. Please compare XRP chart of last 2 weeks to last 2 years. So, okay, so this is, I believe this is the last 2 weeks. I can't do this on every chart, by the way, guys. I just happened to have the XRP price chart open when this question came across, and we'll do it for fun. Okay, so what we were comparing right here to right here. Yeah. Hard to draw from that. Like, okay, like I made a video yesterday talking about it. Like, if I had to make my best guess, but see, when we guess on short-term time frames, I'm going to be wrong way more than I'm going to be right on short-term price action. So it's never take what I'm saying as a trade call, right? But I still think we find our way down in here somehow, and that's not what people want to hear. And it could be wrong, man. I almost don't even want to touch the topic because I did so much on it yesterday, and I tried to really kind of express my frustration on the particular price level that we're currently at right now as we sit here at that 200-week moving average. And yeah, it's poked above right now, but there's still a lot of time left in this week that we have to get through there, and whether or not it's going into a full-blown retracement. And then again, going back to talking about Bitcoin, is that if you're going to have a full-blown move happen in XRP, what are the conditions that have happened in the market? It's got to be Bitcoin going back into a retracement or Bitcoin breaking out into a new all-time high. As we know, as Bitcoin broke out into an all-time high, the SEC sued within like 6 days, I believe it was. I don't recall. I put a whole video out on it, like given the total number of days, how the SEC hurt XRP investors at just the right time. And that's because they did it right when the conditions were there, excuse me, for the price to move. So if we're going to go into a full-blown bull run, one would hope that those conditions are also getting met in Bitcoin right now. We're still ranging over there on Bitcoin, so it's still kind of a waiting game. And I'm conflicted. Do we go into retracement? Do we get stopped here at the 200-week? Or do we go back to test that Wyckoff accumulation breakout? And so, like I said yesterday, I'm going to kind of step back from XRP talking about the chart while we're in this particular phase. And once we get a move, then we'll have something more to talk about. But I don't want to convolute the things I've already said about it. Just check out yesterday. But thank you. MFS with the super sticker. Thank you so much. MFS again. Thank you. Kevin Ramusin. Man, thank you. BCB, you're simply the greatest for everything you have taught me through this epic journey, man. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate your support, man. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Hey, BCB, you are the man. This is Chris. Once you said, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the explosion. With all this consolidation, is 26 more likely? Thank you. I would just, the bigger question comes, is this whole thing, right? Is this one bigger multi-year consolidation coming in here for the bigger move to come in here? That's the bigger question. I'm going to kind of I'm going to stay away from that question right now until we at least get through here. Let's get through here, and then I'll start entertaining stuff like that. I do appreciate the support in the super chat, but I'm going to I really want to get through here first before I say something stupid. All right. Creative Vet. Was it a bit risky on your side to be in alts after Bitcoin popped and bet on a retracement? Much safer to pull money out and reinvest in a bull market. Right. So hindsight trading is always 100%. It's always 20/20 vision. You can always see your own mistakes and see how you should have done things differently. given the exact same scenario all over again, I just would have had to do it the exact same way. Obviously, if you know the future, you're going to change the way you're going to do it, but you don't know the future. You only know the conditions of the past. Historically, when Bitcoin has popped, like we're talking about with the Dow Jones Industrial Average right here, right? So you have to make that call right now. Do you have a 401k, right? If that's popped, which it sure looks like it's popped, are you getting out of all markets and running away? Or are you going to expect some type of retracement to come in here? Which one are you going to take? It's risky. Like I said, is it risky? Sure. Which one are you going to do? You don't have hindsight 2020 vision in this moment right in here, do you? Are we going to go up and go into a retracement? Or are we going to pull off a big fat 1930s Great Depression style move right in here? You'll know the answer in 3 years from right now, but you don't know it right now. So that's the challenge. So taking a shot at how the market has behaved before. First of all, I'm not a day trader, right? So I play big market cycles. That's why I've been in here for 5.5 years. I don't have the energy to deal with 5%, 20%, 10% moves. I do the bigger moves. The only conditions for altcoins to run are after Bitcoin has popped and once it goes into a retracement. Obviously, it's been a pain in the butt because Bitcoin has not done any kind of retracement, but that's the conditional requirement for the altcoins to have a run is after Bitcoin pops and goes into a retracement or as Bitcoin goes into an all-time high. So right now, you don't see me exclaiming that I'm accumulating a bunch of Bitcoin, or accumulating a bunch of altcoins right now as Bitcoin is down in this area, right? Right now, it's, the only thing I'm really stabbing at is Bitcoin in here. Because most of my bag, 90% plus of my bag is altcoins in here. But if Bitcoin does what it does sometimes, right? If it does start running its way back up in here and we don't see an alt season, that is my protection. That's my insurance policy against that. But again, if it ever got back up in here, and I'm not going to talk about all these things. I don't want to give trade calls because it's not what I do. I have to take action on my Bitcoin by letting go of it in these areas in here. For sure, and most likely, it would all be gone in there. So, either way. Yep, it's been a rough ride in the altcoin market, that's for sure. All right, Josh Vayner. How do you make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles. Oh, geez. Here's one. This is what my wife gave me this one yesterday. I want to make sure I get the wording right on it. It's right up that level of absolute hilarious humor. What do you call it when 5 ants rent an apartment and another 5 ants rent an apartment? 10 ants. There we go. All right, thank you. Thank you. I will be here for the next 5 minutes. Round of applause. Black Swan Journalist. Hey, BCB, what do you think of ArcBlock, ABT, Hyperledger, IBM, Microsoft, and Amazon partner and backdoor meetings with BlackRock? I don't know. Backdoor meetings. How do we know about backdoor meetings? I always say that too. Right? If we all know about backdoor meetings, are they really backdoor? Or are we just supposed to think they are? I don't know. I appreciate the support, Black Swan Journalist, but I don't know anything about that. Where did I miss? Where did I miss you? There you are. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. Avo Gonzo. I'll do this, sure. Oh, I almost typed in your name. BLX. All right. Oh, here, this was it right here. This is what I was working on the other day when I was showing the length of time it took after a block reward halving for a new all-time high to get hit. That's how much time had elapsed. And see, I gave credit to this one right in here for the new all-time high. 180 days after the block reward halving, and then in 2020 it was 217 days. But that, if you looked at what was happening in the stock market, this was within 2 weeks of breaking out from the great financial crisis. This was within 8 weeks of the stock market breaking out from its 3-year range, and then this one was within 3 weeks of breaking out from the C19 collapse. So all these multi-year bears that have happened in here have taken, and this one right here was just 13 weeks, 25 weeks, 31 weeks until it finally would break out. However, they were all less than 8 weeks of something significant happening in the stock market. All right. Avogonzo, BCB, aka the Blockfather. Much salute, much love. Can you create a parallel channel on the all-time Bitcoin index from the close on the monthly chart of the 1st of 2011, bull run up to our current lows and pull it up? 2011. Yeah, okay, so also, I don't know if you mean this wick or not this wick. I don't count this wick because this thing goes to like 0. When I'm doing things, I focus on this one right here. But that's going to be a problem. So this is a problem with trend lines too, and a problem I do have with trend lines, and why you don't see me use them tremendously much. And if I do use them, I'm using wicks because people can kind of make what they want it to be, right? Do I use the wicks? Do I not use the wicks? What do I want to do? So that doesn't work. I'm guessing you're wanting something like, I don't know All right. Can you create a parallel channel on the all-time Bitcoin index from the close? Probably. Okay. The close would be here. But I'm sure you meant this. I'm sure you meant that close. The monthly chart on the first 2011 bull run up to our current lows and pull it up. So, I don't know. I guess maybe you're wanting that. I don't see anything there, man. I appreciate the support, brother, but I don't see it. Thank you, though. Wigmapool 182. What's up, man? It's been a long time. Been watching you since you had 2,300 subs, and you kept me sane holding XRP since September of 2018. Can't wait for the live stream one day saying XRP hit $13. It'll be the same thing, dude. Whenever that day comes, if that day comes, it'll be just like with Bitcoin, because a lot of people don't know that we were around during these times. I started my channel in November, right here, during this bad boy, this awful candle right in here. This is where I started my YouTube channel. And then, we rolled up with Bitcoin, then we went through C19, right? So then the next several months of my channel so this is November, here we are, March and April, going through torture here in this moment right in here. But even in here, right, people are screaming that it's the end of the world. They're screaming. Everybody likes to use hindsight right now and look back on that and say, yeah, but we were doing Fed printing and blah, 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 whatever. Everybody was screaming that we were going to go way, 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 way lower. And this went on all the way until here, way into September and October, saying we were going to break down and go set new lows. The loss of confidence was gone all through September, all through 2020. But that, pointing to it, saying 4.236 extension, you irresponsible. It's irresponsible. How dare you? And then we get there, and you get there, and what happens? You get chastised, right? You finally get there. You say, hey, I'm selling. We made it. Woohoo. And then you get chastised. Unfortunately, I'm scared of that moment happening with XRP one day. I am terrified of it. I'm scared that the community is going to hate me when I'm like, hey, it's time for me to sell some of this stuff. And then by then we'll have a bunch, just like with Bitcoin, you had a bunch of new content creators come out of nowhere. Who came into the community who were preaching that we were going on super cycles and log scale fibs and that's going to go way higher and stuff like that. You get kind of tossed to the wolves, man. So we'll do it. We'll definitely live stream $13. I just hope people don't feel like you jerk. All right. Thank you so much. Joseph Black. A great video would be Wyckoff. It's the key. I agree. I enjoyed doing that the other day when we kind of went more in depth on it. So let's look at the stock market. It looks like some action has happened over here in the stock market now. And I'm going to be wrapping this thing up in just a couple minutes, guys. So there we go. Now we're kind of getting more of action here after having a positive start. The goal is to end this by 30 minutes after the opening. So we're almost there right now. And the market cap needs to push above. Okay. Wyckoff, I agree. Ben, hey BCB, thanks for all your videos. I watched everyone. You said you bought the dip on Bitcoin, but did you also buy Ethereum? I do have some Ethereum too, but I will tell you that if this low right here gets taken out, I'm out of it. And the reason why I did that low right there, $702. So nailed 702. I can accept that as an ABC retracement back to 702. You go any lower than that, I'm not interested in playing in that. But again, I'm not a trade caller. But yeah, I do have a little bit of Ethereum too. More Bitcoin than Ethereum. Did get scooped up, but did get some Ethereum too. But thank you, Ben. The mighty mustache. My theory is the SEC is loading up their XRP bags. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. All right, Chris Long. Thanks for everything, BCV. Thank you, Chris Long. Oh, Vlad Ponsar. Man, it's been a while. Thank you. When this brought us a lawsuit, I'm sure the charts did not indicate such a breakdown of price. Is it possible if Ripple wins, the revisiting of 38 and Fib retracements will be off the table due to insane buy volume that is expected? Well, sure. Anything is possible, right? I mean, we look at the conditions of what happened with the market. XRP was breaking out as Bitcoin was breaking out. It's like we were following just what we always follow. SEC stepped in and said, squash, no, it's not going to happen. You know, that the problem with that is I have no measurable way to do any of that or to any way to speculate what would happen to price if they did win. So I don't usually touch that with a 10-foot pole. To say how short-term action would play out in the event that that occurred. But what it wouldn't change is the levels of where I would like be taking profits at. I'd still be taking profits at the exact same level. But yeah, I mean, we watched what happened. The SEC's moment to strike was timed perfectly. And, you know, will the moment to strike for Ripple and XRP happen as Bitcoin goes into a retracement perfectly? I sure hope so. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Patrick, if XRP does nothing till the next halving, are you still expecting $10 to $12 XRP, or do you think a bigger number could be on the table? Yeah, so if Bitcoin goes back into a retracement and XRP does nothing, that's going to be a problem. It is going to be a problem because how do you draw anything from it? So if XRP doesn't run up, we'll have to address that when it comes. But I would be more concerned for if nothing happens than being like, hey, it's going to go to a super higher price. I would be. So, but thank you, Patrick. That's it, guys. Am I all caught up? Awesome. I haven't. I have not. I think this is where I'm at. I hope so. Johnny V. Coltrane, when will see your analysis of Songbird and Flare? Yeah, so I don't really pay attention to those two very much, man. I just don't. Because Flare, I can't beat my head against the wall over Flare. I've already beat my head against the wall enough over the SEC and Ripple and XRP. gosh, I don't need when flare in my life. So I have somehow done a really good job separating that from my life to not pay attention to it, and just kind of wait. Whenever it happens, it happens. It's not a big deal to me. I know about like airdrops. Airdrops, you're going to lose value really fast. So it's not like I really am putting too many eggs in my basket on the actual airdrop being worth very much. If you know much about airdrops, just like what you saw Songbird, plummets, right? That's normal. That is very normal for airdrops. And as for Songbird, I don't know, man. I mean, it just, what do? You go from 50 cents to 2? It's still below 2, I believe, right now. And so just kind of waiting on it to really kind of do more before touching that. But thank you. Dr. Tai, since we do not see full-blown alt season after Bitcoin popped, do you think this is cycle market creating a different chart structural? Well, Bitcoin hasn't retraced. That's the problem. So if we don't see any altcoin run or excitement in this market during a Bitcoin retracement, or if we don't get a Bitcoin retracement, Bitcoin's crashing down to what people want, which is silly, 12 to 14K, the structural damage is terrifying in that circumstance. But if we don't get a retracement, then yeah, it's a big problem. But if we go into a retracement and we don't get a altcoin move, then I would say market's creating a different structure. But the problem is we've had no retracement. So you haven't had that condition. If you get that condition and nothing happens, it is an OS moment. It is like, oh boy, things are changing in this market big time. But we just haven't had it yet. So, unfortunately, we've had to wait all of 2022 for anything like that to happen. So that's where, for me, you would say there's something very different going on in the market if we get a retracement and absolutely nothing happens. But one thing is that we know that the stock market could be in some trouble too. But I think the stock market's going to retrace too. I know, broken record, but I do. So, okay, we'll come back to that another time. ArcBlock just recently listed on Coinbase, steering members of the Cascadia Blockchain Council in Washington, bringing decentralized ID to the masses. Black Swan journalist, thank you so much. Okay, cool. Thanks for the info. Crypto golfer. Crypto golfer, how will you know Jesus has returned to the world? Like, does he have to do a trick, or is there a secret catchphrase? Asking for a friend. I don't know, but you will know. All right. I think I got it. Nope, I haven't got it. I'm trying to respect. Brother, Bitcoin will go to 95K. Stay healthy and happy from Pitbull. Okay, man. Dude, go for it. I hope so, man. I hope so. Jason Nance, can we still get merch? Somebody stole my BC Backer hoodie from a bar. Thanks for everything you do. Yeah, my wife is always telling me to turn the merch back on. And I think I like to save that for like holidays times. And we're almost there, right? It's almost November. So I'll work on getting that back up. Number one, XRP, Brandon. Isn't the entire XRP market structure the same as Bitcoin? And we are right now at the 14K retrace, similar to what Bitcoin did before dumping to COVID lows. So I'm assuming you mean you're talking about this right here. You're like, hey, here's all of 2018 and 19 for Bitcoin. Here's the retracement for Bitcoin. Here's the pullback and reaccumulation for Bitcoin, right? And you're saying this is like being 14, right? So here, we'll do this. Stirred up this too many times. Essentially this, correct? So right? I assume that's what your question is. Yeah, always possible, right? So would that lead to a bigger move happening while Bitcoin goes into retracement? Possibly, right? Have we pulled back as deep? Pulled back pretty deep, man. Pull that off of log. Right. So, all right. That's going to be it, guys. So what's happening with the market? We are having a mixed day again. So it's just the same old story as we sit in here today. Bitcoin's still fighting up against the top of this range boundary. Nothing to say there. But the real point of doing this live stream is to try to maybe do more of these in early morning, so we can kind of like, a lot of times what happens to me when I'm creating content, especially when we're in times like this where you just get stuck for a long time, right? You get kind of disconnected from what do people want to be hearing about right now. And so it's good to kind of hear the things that you guys are interested in. Helps me get my wheels turning at the same time. And a lot of times lately, it's been taking longer to get videos out. So they're not getting out till, like, I'm sure you guys know, much later than they usually are. So this gives an opportunity to get a little bit of content out there in the morning to watch what's going on in the markets. And then, give me time to work on something for later. But all right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Mixed day in markets. Once again, nothing significant has happened in here, and XRP still same old ranging. But I appreciate the questions. I'll take a look at them closer, and I'll rewatch this thing and go back through the chat and see what you guys are saying in the chat. All right. Thank you, my dudes. Do I give you one more? It's Wednesday, my dudes? I think that's how you finish it off, right? It's been a while. No, I can't. I already closed it out. Sorry, remember it was making all that extra noise. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. It's Wednesday, my dudes. All right. All right. So I'll end this thing. It'll be on the replay. Hey, guys, can you hit the like button for me? I appreciate it very much. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Let's go through the whole drill. All right. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.